Let's share the screen. Welcome to an episode of Market Masters. It's just me today. Sorry to crush any hopes and dreams. Jack is on vacation. So since he's not here, I thought I'd get extra nerdy for you today. Hopefully that's okay. We're going to go through how to build your own indicator. How's that sound, everybody? Sound like fun? Sound entertaining? I think it sounds pretty. I mean, I was trying to come up with something that was interesting that most people don't talk about. It's not really content that's great for YouTube or great for anything except a captive audience. So if you want to learn how to do this, you're in the right place. If it's like, I don't know, stick around, see if see if you find anything interesting. You don't have to do it. You don't have to make your own anything. I'm just going to go through how you start building your own indicator. And I collected a few documents here. I got to open up some code. So I got some examples on my screen. And looks like S&P 500 could go higher here. Pushing higher today. Got to open up a couple more. I was on my other computer and cramming chicken wings in my face. Wingstop, I guess T-Mobile Tuesday this week was buy one, get one from Wingstop. We have a Wingstop just up the street here. And that's what we decided to do since I'm going to be live for, gosh, till 1:30 or so. That's way past lunch. All right. So I've got indicators galore, and I create indicators galore because when you when you read an article and or you watch a YouTube video and somebody's like, oh, when the 20 crosses about the 50, you just buy that and blah blah blah, and it's like, okay, 20, 50. All right, I know how to do that kind of like I can click on the indicators, I can add a moving average, I can cut, there's maybe even a moving average crossover that you could use if you wanted to. But if it gets more complicated than that, how in the devil do you do it? Like, what if you wanted to buy on Friday and sell on Monday? Like, how would you do that? And so let's just walk through a couple of the basics, like how you would even build an indicator, what you would do, all that kind of stuff, like all that kind of information. Like, how would you even get started? I'm going to go back to one of my more clean slate versions here. And of course, it's going to be stupid. Maybe I should reload. And let's just go ahead and save this real quickly, then reload the page just to try to clear out the garbage. So I'm going to use TradingView because it's easy, it's attainable, it's free for everybody. And there's a sale going on right now, 70% off. If you wanted to upgrade to a premium type of deal, it's like 17 bucks a month. Look at that. Plus is 17 bucks about for 2 pennies more a month. You get the premium. You get all these indicators, 25 indicators a chart, all sorts of alerts. It's a pretty good deal. I'm not trying to advertise this, but that's what I use. That's the tool I use. Not a bad shake right there. Not a bad shake. So you're like, all right, you get into the super charts product on TradingView and you're like, all right, what do I do? What in the world would I possibly do? And so we start out, we click the pine indicator right down here. And I already have the market roadmap indicator loaded up. We're just going to create a new one. And we're going to go with indicator first. Strategy is where it gives you entry and exit alerts. So we'll get into that, but we're going to start with indicator. All right. And it says my script, and it comes up with version 6. This version number does matter depending on which one, what you're doing. And my market roadmap indicator is written in version 4, and you may or may not be able to change this right here, like depending. So if you come in here, you're like, all right, I'm going to call it first attempt right here. And it says plot close. That's kind of all we've got so far. And if you wanted to see this on the charts, we've got to pull it down off of the top. If it'll let me, here we go. We can turn off all our other stuff that's on here. Turn that off, turn that off, turn that off, turn it off. We got 2 more on there. Pull this on down. There we go. Roadmap, turn that off. So right now, with this indicator that we've got that just says plot close, that's an indicator. And you could actually add this to your chart. You click the button right here. It's unsaved. So if you want to save it, first attempt, you actually click save, the little blue button. Ask you for a name, name it anything you want. First indicator. This is how easy it is. Like, when it tells you, uh-oh, we got a problem right there. And actually, because it was not version, I actually used, let's just change it back to 6 so it works. Change it back to 6, add to chart. There we go. Now we got the close down here. And we plotted it separate. But it's like, okay, that's cool. It's separate. It's down here by itself. Not very helpful. But what this does is it grabs the close prices of every one of these candles. So if we went to this line like this, and we changed the chart to be the close, that's what it would be right there. Those 2 things would be the same. Now you can actually send this up to above it or below it, or move it all around. And there you go. That's, congratulations. You just made a chart. You just made an indicator, right? But let's say we want to get a little bit fancier. Want to be a little bit different, right? Now, we can say we want to overlay it on top of the current chart. And it's going to be goofy and not put it up there. Cool. That's exactly what I wanted. Let's see. See if it'll now let me put it up on the price chart. No, it will not. Cool. Love it. This is the thing. PineScript, I've been doing this since PineScript 3. Now there's PineScript 6. They keep upgrading it. And if you're like, oh, this is difficult already, you can ask an AI to write this stuff for you. Tell it you're writing in PineScript for TradingView and you want to do XYZ. But then how do you know it's like the real deal? That's where it gets kind of difficult. And let's just kind of add some stuff on here. So let's say we don't want to plot the close. All right. What's the importance for indicators? It's so you can test an idea, Jimmy. Like, you watch an idea on YouTube, you read an article on Medium, you read an article in the Wall Street Journal about how some sort of moving average cross is the best thing since sliced bread, wins all the time. But how do you test that? How do you know if that's the real thing? How do you even know if it's something that's going to work? Right. So I'm just kind of, for those of you that have no idea how to do this, we're getting started. And TradingView, easy way to do it, Pine Editor. So I'm probably not going to circle back again, but that's where we're starting. All right. So now we've removed the plot close and it's like, okay, now what do we do? Now what do we do? So maybe, just maybe, we want to use like something like a 2050 crossover, right? So we've got to figure out how to find that. So to start out with, we type like a variable name. And you can, for variable names, you can name it anything you want. It's EMA1, or you can name it moving average 1. It could be an exponential moving average. You got to know a little bit about all the different types of things you can do. How do you do that? You can look in the documentation. But let's just call EMA1. Let's say we're going to use a, technical analysis is what TradingView calls it, TA.EMA, and it's a built-in function, and it kind of gives you a lot of hints and helpful information here. All right. The EMA function returns the exponential weighted moving average in an EMA weighting that factors in decrease in exponential, blah, blah, blah. Basically, it calculates the source times blah, 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 times alpha 1 times the length. I mean, it gets complicated, right? Like, but you don't have to know any of that. You just need to know you want the MA. We're going to base it on the close, and we're going to say like the 50 EMA. That's all we got to do for an EMA. And then you can plot the EMA like that. And we can add it to the chart. Make sure you want to save it. And then all of a sudden we've got da 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 da. There's the 50 EMA. All right, that's plotted over the chart. Now the overlay thing is what we did to, since we removed it off its own window and put it back on with an overlay equals true, they put it on top of the chart. Now, great, one EMA, big deal. There's a button for that in TradingView. Yeah, we're starting simple. So EMA 2, let's say close, and we're going to use the 200, right? So when we get the 50, 200 crossover, and let's go ahead and plot EMA 2. It's like this, update on the charts. Now we've got 2 EMAs, and we're like, oh man, one's this color, the other is that color. This is kind of nasty. So how do we change the colors? You just come in here and tell it you want a color. And it kind of helps you. It'll tell you what you could possibly do. And we'll say color dot orange. Like that. Update on the charts. Boom. Now your 200 is orange, your 50 is in blue. And say you wanted to change these to the simple moving average. You're like, I didn't really like the exponential. Well, you don't have to change the names of the variables or anything. You just come in here and change it to SMA, simple moving average, instead of instead of EMA. You could change it to TMA, triple moving average. All sorts of things can be done. It's all in the manual for this thing, and you update it, and there we go. Now we have just regular 20/50 crossovers. It's like, all right, cool. But how would I turn that into trade signals that I could actually use? And this is where it goes beyond being an indicator and more into being a strategy. All right, that's the key difference between when we came in here and we said new and we picked indicator. An indicator is just something that's on the chart. A strategy is actually something that can produce alert signals, like give you an exit or an entry alert. And then you can get those then it ties it into the alert system over here in TradingView. And when you can create an alert, you can actually pick one of your strategies to be the trigger for an alert. And then you can send it out to yourself in notifications like text, email, app alerts, or even webhooks and all this stuff. So you can build these things more complicated. And that's why when you just add an indicator off of here and you're like, well, I can't use it as an alert, it's because it's not a strategy. All right. So how do we convert this into a strategy? Well, we can take what we've done already. We can copy it and we can say, create new strategy. Now it looks a bit more complicated. We've got some extra stuff in here. And it's like, oh man, change this to my first strategy. Just give it a name. We've got we've already got some stuff put in here. Long condition. It already gave you an example, basically. And TA, you can kind of see it's got a basic crossover strategy already built in here. So let's say we wanted the 50 crossing above the 200. That's, long condition equals TA crossover. So it's already got this crossover thing built in there. You don't even have to test for it yourself. It's already so common a thing. It's already built in. So, but we're gonna refine this to a 50 moving average and a 200 moving average. And remember, we can change it from SMA to EMA if we wanted to use exponentials. So if long condition, which this is a true or false, this crossover, if long condition activates, it's going to give you an entry. And then if short condition, which is going to be the other way around, it's going to be the 50. We got to change it here too. And the 200. And you can get more complicated. You can build these into variables and all sorts of stuff. We're trying to keep it just, if you keep coming back on Friday, if you come back on Friday, we're going to get more complicated in this, build more. We might even build it into an automated strategy that could get into SPY on Friday and get out on Monday and kind of give you that alert and see and be able to back test an idea is what we're building to. Like you see people talk about, oh, just buy when the 50 crosses above the 200. That's the golden cross. And then sell when it crosses back below. Let's see how good that actually does, right? So we've got this built in here. Let's say maybe we don't want to actually go short there, but for now, let's just leave it like it is. Let's leave it like it is. Let's add it to the chart. And now all of a sudden we get some short entries and long entries, and let's remove our first attempt indicator. Now we're down to this. And you're like, well, it doesn't show me anything because we didn't tell it to show us anything except the entries and the exits. And we look at it, it's like buy two, sell two. We kind of click on it. We're like, this is really simple. There's no settings. There's nothing to this, right? But what we've done is we built it into something we can backtest. Well, look at this. On the SPX, if we buy a couple shares, and it's just going to buy like a share as the default, buys a share, sells it, that's actually a pretty fair winner. Now, over the last forever years, this has only happened 83 times. We've only gotten a trade 83 times, but profit factor is 2.1. But it's kind of 50-50 on win-losses. Kind of 50-50 win-losses. All right. So how do you test this? Could it be better? Maybe. Does it work on other time frames? Well, you click on a different time frame and it automatically backtests that time frame. Now in here in the backtester, you can change it to entire history and it'll update to the entire history. If you just want to see how's it been doing in the last year. But there you go. On the 30-minute time frame, 19 trades, only 36% of the time it worked out, but it's been positive. It's a net positive right there. If you wanted to come in and look at, the actual trades that have happened in the last year, it shows you each one of the entries and exits. Back through there. You're like, okay, great. But I can't verify this. Nothing, like, if one of these didn't work the way I wanted to, how do I know what's going on? And easy enough, you come in here and we just add a line. Like we've got the long condition, we got the short condition. But we can actually plot these. We can add these just like we had on the other indicator. EMA1, EMA2, and we can plot EMA1 and EMA2. Let's make them blue and orange. Update on the charts. Now you can see why we're getting the entries we're getting. Went long on a crossover here, short on the crossover there, long on the crossover here, and we're still long, and we're Still rocking and rolling here. Oh, there we got out. Now, suppose you don't want to go short the S&P. You just want to go long when we get a positive crossover and then get out, right? Maybe you just want to go long when we get the positive crossover and then get out when we get the negative crossover. You just want to do a long only. You don't want to try to go short or anything like that. So how do you test that? Can this improve the win rate? I don't really know the answer. I've never built this strategy before. Actually, I'm building this all live for you right now. So it happens in these long condition, short condition things here. And all we have to do is change up a little bit how it works. Now I'm going to pull this down. So instead of saying, we've got strategy entry. And instead of strategy entry here, we're going to change it to strategy dot close all. We're just going to close everything when the short happens. Now we're just going to get out when the negative crossover happens instead of going short. And we're going to update that on the charts. And it's going to create these positions where we get out, close position. So we go long and close position. Now we go back to the tester. We see how this changed the performance. Right here, we can see, well, last 365 days, it's 144% of the time. We increased the win rate and increased the profit factor. Now, profit factor, for those that don't know, that's the gross profits divided by the gross losses. So for every unit of money it lost, it made $2. For every dollar it lost, it made $2.34. That's a pretty fair thing, but we only won 44% of the time. So we lost 55% of the time. Not great, but it is a winner overall, or at least it was for the last year. Now, looking back in the entire history, we're just on 30-minute charts. Still a winner. Pretty good winner. And the win rate holds up. 114 trades. All the way back to, it let me go back to 2014. Right there. That's not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. And hold on 1 second. All right. I'm going to mute a tab. It was making a bunch of racket on me. And that's pretty okay. But maybe you're like, well, how would I get an alert on this? Like, what if I wanted to go long when this fired off? So you come over here, you add an alert, you pick your symbol. Like if you wanted to do a whole watch list, you've got to have a higher version of TradingView. But you can grab the current symbol, usually grab the current one on the chart. You say, all right, I want to use my first strategy or whatever you called it. What time frame do you want to put it on? If you want to use the 30-minute chart, same as the chart, then how long do you want to run this for? Do you want to run it for to date, or do you want to run it open-ended? So that's what this setting is right up here. Create an open-ended alert right up in there at the top, and cool it, pulled it off there. Click that button right there and set it on expired. You can create the new, and then whenever this fires off, it'll fire off on the 30-minute time frame. It'll never forget. And you set up your notifications to be whatever you want them to. I'm not going to show you because it'll have my personal information in there, but you can send it to an email. You send it to, if you install the TradingView app on your phone, it'll push it to your phone as long as you're logged in. And right there. No, there will not be a Thinkorswim lesson. This is TradingView because it's accessible to everybody. Thinkorswim is not accessible to everybody. Doesn't matter where you live in the world, you can do this in TradingView, and it's accessible for everybody. So there you go. That's a long only strategy built into here, and you never know. Like sometimes it'll chop you up a little bit. Like got in, got out, got back in. that all happened in like a week, and then we didn't get any other action. We just stayed long till all the way up here. So it gets grab some big long positions, and then you're like, okay, cool. Does this work on like Apple? Well, we just load up Apple. I'll turn off the extended hours, and let's see how it does. Load up the strategy tester. Still on the 30-minute time frame. Well, wins 51% of the time. Profit factor still 2. That's still pretty good. Yeah, all the Market Master sessions are available on replay. Jared, I don't know if you have the replay, but the replay link, it's like prosperitypub.com/marketmastersreplay. I think I can find it if I need to. So that's kind of how you test something. Like you read about it, you watch somebody on YouTube, and they're like, oh, all you have to do is this, that, or that, whatever. Go long when the 20 cross or the 50 crosses above the 200, and then sell it out when it crosses the other way. So this is how you would test that. And this is how you would build an automated alert for you personally. Like that, you don't have to rely on any guru. You don't have to rely on anybody to give you an alert when this condition's set up. And it can get more complicated. Like when you come in here and you look at the long condition, right now we're just looking for the crossover. That's it. But you can say, I only want to do this if the crossover happens on a Friday. You can add that in there. And I only want to do this if volume's above 1 million or whatever, you can do all those things, like high volume, like anything you can think of. You can pull up the data in TradingView. You just have to calculate it right there. Yeah. Can I please tell you how to access the rewatch? Let me just go ahead and pull that up since Jared didn't drop the link. Let me find it I've got the link in Discord, my Discord. So maybe just roll back a couple days and grab that out of the chat. And no, wrong channel. Give me 1 second. I will grab that for everybody. And here's the replay link. Right there. Copy. And here's where they will live right here. Any of these sessions, Market Masters, they'll all be posted right there. Market Masters replays. There you go. So any questions so far on this very basic strategy before we get more complicated? And this definitely gets more and more complicated. Like, of course, this is the crash course, very beginner. We only have 2 EMAs built into this. Very simple strategy, but it is a winner. Like when people talk about this being a winner, it doesn't win. It's not like a winner like 50% of the time it wins, 50% it loses. But when it wins, it makes more money because the market is biased long. That's the reason why it works. Now, you could be like, what about the 1 minute time frame? You just change it to the 1 minute time frame and you update it. It's updating the reports. Give it a minute. This is how you know if you should run it on a 1 minute time frame. You let the report run, you let it generate the information for you, and then boom. All right, 6,000 trades since in the last 25 years. That's a bunch. Total profit loss, it only made 150 bucks. Maybe that's not the best what use of your money. The profit factor down to 1.1. Maybe doing this on the 1 minute time frame, not so good. Only wins 32% of the time. So 1 minute time frame, we get a lot of rips, is what that's telling me. There's a lot more volatility, a lot more losing trades. And you might be okay. Well, maybe on the 1 minute time frame, we should just short it, right? So we can comment this out. We can kind of go back, add the short entry back, and comment this part out. And we can say we went to strategy, close all on the long condition. We just want to short it. Let's see if this works on the 1 minute time frame. So we update that on the charts. We just reversed it. So we're going to short only. It's a short only strategy, not a long only strategy. Go back to the tester. Let's see, does this actually win? We'll have to wait a minute for it to update. Waiting, waiting, waiting. And I have no idea. Like, I didn't pre-do this. So there you go. That's shorting on the drop. And this is why I don't short the market, honestly. I had a suspicion. That's a negative profit factor. That means you lose money on average by shorting the market on this signal. You're not down huge money just buying one share of Apple or shorting one share of Apple each time. But you're certainly not making money. I had a feeling this would be the way it was because the market tends to go up over time. So how do you change it back? Just come back in here, change this. The little slashes can comment. It's what we call commenting out. So if you want to leave your code there, but make it so it doesn't work, it doesn't, the Pine script doesn't execute that, you put these 2 slashes in here like you have up here. Now this line right here with the version, that's a special line that it reads anyway, despite it being a comment, but it won't execute that line. It just tells it what version to load of Pine script. And now we've got the entry condition. We need to comment out the close all line. We need to comment out going short, and we need to add back in strategy dot close all. Like that. Oh, gotta have the parentheses. If you mistype it, it'll highlight stuff and tell you, oh, you messed up. STR. Gotta spell correctly. And then you save it on the charts, and we're back to the long only strategy with the extra lines in here. Is anybody excited about this in the, in the chat? You're learning something, some way to got some ideas you've seen on out there. Somebody talked about some way that a strategy wins, and you're like, well, how could I prove that? And a lot of people just tell you it's a high probability strategy without actually putting numbers to it. It's like this one right here. That's not high probability. I wouldn't call this high probability. Profitable, sort of, on the 1 minute time frame, not very. And if we go back up to the 30-minute time frame, where Apple tends to trend a little bit, I don't know. Back up to the daily. I have to run this a little longer. Over the long haul, it does win, but it's not high probability. This is low probability. Only works 41% of the time. That's low probability. Even something that worked 50% of the time would not be high probability. That'd be a coin flip. Now, one that is high probability, when I talk about something that's high probability, turn on this, my strategy. Now we're at 76% profitable trades. Profit factor, not good though. I wouldn't run this on Apple on the daily chart. Now, McDonald's, different story. 46, 84, almost 85% profitable and a 1.5. I mean, that's better. Something like PGR, positive. WC. Ooh, now we're talking. Now, I'm actually in this trade. 38 trades, 89% profitable. Profit factor 2. There you go. There is a lot to learn. Like this is just a beginner class. We're going to do more of this on Friday, but here's the deal. I have created many of my strategies that operate automatically. For those that follow me, if you don't follow me, I create a lot of automated alerts. And for the most part, I'm looking for high probability. To me, high probability means something above 66.6%. All right. That means 2/3 of the time you're going to win. 2 out of 3, 66.6% of the time. To me, that's higher probability. All right. That's especially when you have a statistical population. Now, a lot of people don't understand this. If you don't have 30 of something, then you don't have a statistical population. Now, a lot of people will tell you, well, we can do trials and this, that, and the other, and as long as it's a representative sample and this, that, and the other. Okay, but in a naive condition, you don't know how to get a representative sample or anything like that. You need 30 of something, a population of 30 to generate a statistical population. Why 30? It goes way deeper than I want to get into. I'm not a PhD in statistics. I took a lot of statistics for my engineering degree and my computer science, minor, but these are the key takeaways. You need 30 of something. If you had 2 of something, it's not statistically significant. And we can look at some of these ones down here from today, like 13. Even though it has good numbers here, that doesn't really mean anything. The next 17 of those trades to get up to 30 could all be losers, and then it would totally wipe out this and totally wipe out this. Now, you can flip a coin. Think about it. You can flip a coin twice in a row and get heads both times. Does that mean every time you flip the coin, you're going to get heads? Maybe, but it doesn't tell you for sure. I mean, our empirical evidence from flipping coins in the history of that probably it's closer to a 50-50 unless something's up with the coin. Right? I mean, everybody kind of get that? You roll a dice. Which side's it likely to land on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6-sided dice, regular square die. Which side? Which side's more probable? If it's a properly made balanced dice, it's pretty even, right? We've all seen the movies where, had the special dice or the special coins or the special whatever that always wins. But this is back to statistics, and to have a high probability thing, for me, it's just my personal thing. I like to have higher than 66%, basically 66% or higher to be high probability when I talk about it. Some people talk about high probability trades, high probability to win, but if we're looking at our EMA strategy, and people talk about this all the time, just buy when the 20 crosses above the 50, and well, right there on this one, that works, but it doesn't have a statistical population. For some stuff it does work. For some stuff it doesn't work. Go back and look at the SPY. Long term on the daily. Reset to the chart defaults. Whew. Well, it works on SPY. High probability. High probability. Big fat profit factor. 41 trades. That's one that you might consider doing. Might consider doing it. I mean, that's reasonable. You'd be in the trades for a long time. Like this one crossed over right back here. You would have gotten out at the bottom of Liberation Day. You would have missed the whole first part. That's another thing. Can you wait and be disciplined on the strategy? Like, is just trading once, getting long in February 23 and just walking away until Liberation Day, you get out, wait a couple months, get back in. Is that going to be okay with you? Is that too few of trades? These are questions you have to ask yourself, and you have to be honest with yourself. Like when you look at just the last year, there's not been any trades in this strategy. At least not on a daily time frame. You go down a time frame, no trades. Go down a time frame, and we got 2 trades in the last year, and it was negative. Lost money. Ugh. Nobody wants to lose money. Go down a time frame. Well, that one, and we're down a 30-minute chart. We lost most of the time, so it's not high probability, but we made money. Kind of interesting. So we get these bounces that, what that tells you is you get into the lower time frames, you get these bounces that cause you to lose money. Now, you may be sitting there going, all right, so is there an EMA crossover that does win? And that's the funny thing, when you look at EMA crossovers, they're so common that the market kind of makes it a net losing game for most EMA crossovers. They're just so common, so easy. They're so overused that there's bots that actively kind of try to take the money from those trading those EMA crossovers. So it gets more and more complicated. Usually you've got to combine an EMA crossover with something else, like a MACD divergence or a RSI bottoming out, or and all those things can be done inside the code here. You can pull up RSI, and if you want, you're like, well, I don't know how to find that. You can Google it. You can look at the help docs. They have all the what they call the application programming interface documents for PineScript on the web. You can ask AI to help you. That's another way to do it. And can I please plot the EMA crossover for 3 and 13? Yeah, you can do it yourself. It's pretty easy. You just go EMA, you just change these to EMA, and we go 3, and you can assign variables here to make it easier to change. But we're just going to do it like this, 313. And we got to come in here and we got to say 313. And 13. Now, that was kind of a pain, right? Changing it all the places. And these are SMAs instead of EMAs. So we got to change that to EMA. And we got to change this one to EMA. And that was kind of a pain to change all those. So what if we wanted to assign a variable? We could say period 1 or period fast equals 3. We could say period slow equals 13. And then everywhere we have 3 and 13, we come in and say period fast. And we say period slow. Type properly. And then we come in and we say, change that 3. Period fast. We change this one. And it'll try to help you type too. If you haven't noticed, it's sitting here. Period slow. I'm hitting tab to do that. Come down in here. Period fast. You come in here. Now, an AI will create you something when you ask it to code this for me, but then you might not know if it's proper. And that's where actually knowing a little bit about coding comes into play. Like, what if it plots it on there and it doesn't go long where you think it should go long? That's where you got to be able to troubleshoot it a little bit. And that's where some of this lesson might come into play. So we updated this on the chart now. There's a whole lot more entries and exits. And we're going to look at the strategy tester. It's for a 30-minute. You can see 36% of the time. And the profit factor is basically scratch right there. Pop it up to a daily chart. I really feel strongly about this on a daily chart. Well, for the last year, it's got you 12 trades, mostly losers, 60% of the time. So Vendashi, hope this is just helping a little bit. We reset it to the entire history here. Still back to 41% of the time. Profit factor 1.4. Has it worked really good recently? Yeah, recently it's been working. For a long time it worked. Right there. Just made you a little bit of money, from right here. It really sucked. It lost you a bunch of money from 2001 through the end of the through where we recovered from the great financial crisis, basically. So a big market correction didn't work too good. Recently, been working better. Back here in the slow grind, it just slow grinded money for you. So it's one of those things that works in the right market condition. And to kind of prove this, if we go back here, we look at roughly May 2018, reset the date, custom range. Let's see. Come on, let me type, please. 2018, 05, 01. Let's go with the beginning of that to current, select. And you can see there's the current run, basically 51%, slightly better than a coin flip with 80 trades. Doesn't seem like that great to me, but there you go. That's all of them right there. That's just getting in on that crossover and getting out. Like I said, moving average crossovers on average. I've done this for a long time. Built indicators for a long time. Over 10 years now, I've been building and testing automated strategies. This is something I gravitated to very quickly. About the middle of my trading learning career is how do you test something? How do you find out if it's any good? How do you put numbers to it? How do you find the high probability stuff? This is how you do it. You build it into a strategy that you can back test. And there's platforms that can help you, but you build it into a strategy that you can back test and then see and put numbers to it. If it's more of a coin flip that just happens to make more money on the positive than the negative, well, you can make money over time, but it's not as good as you possibly could do, though. And we could go into a period where, when we look at it, you reset the chart back, you can go into a period where it loses money for 15 years. Can you stay solvent that long? If you're in a period where you're just chopping, losing money, can you survive that period? And actually start losing money back here at the peak. And right here is where it actually peaked out and started losing money. And we lost money into the trough here, came back positive, went back, so we lost money from there to there. And then we've kind of made money from the secondary drop right here till now. There you go. That's how this works. How you start hashing it out. Now, on Friday, I plan to build an automated strategy that gets in like on a Friday. I've heard tons of times, like if you just get in on a Friday on SPX, get out on Monday after the open, you can be profitable. So how do we do that though, right? How do you get in on a time frame and get out? We're going to cover that on Friday. Now, I have a gold position that I trade. And we're just going to remove this off of the chart for right now. We're going to add my indicator for Gold Rush right here. And right now it's like, well, what's going on? We don't have any data. Yeah, we don't have any data. It's actually, this indicator is built for running on GLD. And you're like, well, it's not giving us any data because it can't find the entries. It actually looks for a specific hour of the day to get in. It actually has to run on a 30-minute time frame to generate entries. And you can see this strategy right here. Back to 2019 to 2025. This is a weekly strategy. It's pretty profitable here. So we're going to build something like this on Friday that gets into S&P 500 on kind of a calendar. But this has more to it than just the calendar. It's not just get in this day, get out. I actually have filters built into it. There's certain conditions built into the code. But you see that where's the period of red? You know, we do get some drawdowns, but for the most part, this is climbing higher. There's no big swings. You know, we don't get these big dips and, you know, humps and like we had on the S&P 500. Anybody want to know more about this particular strategy right here and how you could get automated alerts from it? You can let me know in the chat right now. Most recently, we took this, and this is just the signals right here. Produces the signal, boom. But I actually trade options on here and target 50% gains on top of the entry and exit. And you can see that one right there worked out pretty good. This one right here, got in here, got out up there, got in here, got out there. Wow, it catches these little bumps. Oh, that one lost. Is it perfect? No, not perfect. This one got in here, out there, you know, in there, out there. So it does try to catch the right moves. So I see some, yes, please. You want to know more information?